On a cool morning, as the morning sunlight filters through the lush green leaves, a man stands tall, his eyes steadfast, and a gentle smile on his face, radiating confidence and self-respect. It is this self-respect that earns him the admiration of those around him. Every man begins the journey to conquer a great mountain by moving small stones. Under a clear blue sky, with a gentle breeze blowing, he sets off on a long and arduous path. The small stones along the way represent initial challenges, but with each steady step, he gradually moves closer to the summit of his dreams. In the setting sun, a woman sits by the window, her sad eyes gazing into the fading darkness. Harrowing memories from the past weigh heavily on her, leaving her feeling burdened and lost. Conversely, under a starry night sky, a young man sits on his balcony, his worried eyes fixed on the distant horizon. Thoughts of an uncertain future keep him restless and uneasy, but when you are at peace, you are truly living in the present. On a vibrant green lawn, beneath the shade of a flourishing tree, a girl sits in meditation, her face serene and eyes bright. Peace radiates from her soul, showing that she is savoring every moment of the present. In a quiet forest, a man walks step by step along a narrow path. Despite the rugged and difficult terrain, he perseveres, never giving up. Life always brings new beginnings, often disguised as painful endings. Under a gentle rain shower, with droplets evenly falling on the roof, a girl stands quietly, gazing into the distance. The recent sorrowful endings have opened doors to new beginnings, filled with hope and opportunities. We only have one true life, and the second begins when we realize this. In the soft light of dawn, a man looks up to the sky, his eyes shining and a radiant smile on his face. He recognizes the value of life and resolves to live authentically. On a vast field, under the bright golden sun, a farmer gently hands a bowl of hot rice to another person. His eyes reflect trust and compassion, showing his desire to help not just for today, but for their future as well. It is more sorrowful when we distrust our friends than to be deceived by them. In a cozy cafe, two friends sit facing each other, their eyes filled with sadness and doubt. The loss of trust has shattered the bond that once connected them. When you meet a good person, think about becoming like them. Under the cool shade of a tree, as sunlight filters through the leaves, a young girl watches a kind stranger help others. The bright smile on her face mirrors her admiration and desire to become like that person. When you encounter someone not so good, reflect on your own weaknesses. In a quiet space, a young man sits alone, his eyes contemplative and lips pressed tightly together. He looks inward, recognizing his own flaws through the actions of others. On a cold winter day, with snow blanketing the rooftops, a woman stands by the window, watching the snow-covered landscape. Instead of complaining about the neighbor's snowy roof, she turns back to clean her own doorstep, creating a tidy and warm home for her family. In the dim light of dusk, a sword lies motionless in salty water, slowly corroding over time. This image serves as a warning to maintain one's strength and not let external pressures weaken oneself. A person who asks a question may be seen as foolish for a moment, but someone who never asks is foolish for life. In a brightly lit classroom, a shy student hesitantly raises his hand to ask a question. Despite the slight anxiety in his eyes, this decision opens the door to greater knowledge and understanding. When goals seem unattainable, don't change the goals. Adjust your action steps. On a high mountain peak, a climber gazes at the vast landscape before him. Despite the dangerous steep path, he doesn't abandon his goal, but instead adjusts his steps to continue the journey. Forget past hurts, but never forget acts of kindness. Under a light drizzle, with raindrops gently falling on her face, a girl holds an umbrella, her eyes sparkling with trust and gratitude. She lets go of past wounds, but keeps the kindnesses she has received in her heart. If you harbor hatred, you have already been defeated. In a colorful sunset, a man stands quietly watching the sun dip below the horizon. His eyes are filled with sadness and hatred, but the evening light seems to convey that hatred only leads to self-defeat. Life is a series of natural and spontaneous changes. Don't resist them, for doing so only creates sorrow. Under a sky that shifts colors from blue to yellow, red, and orange, a young girl walks along the shoreline. A gentle breeze tousles her hair, and she realizes that change is a natural part of life, bringing both joy and sorrow. Let reality be reality. Let things flow naturally in their own way. In a peaceful garden, with flowers in full bloom and birds singing cheerfully, a man sits by a pond, his eyes thoughtful and soul at peace. He lets things happen naturally, without trying to control or change anything, simply enjoying the present moment. Appear weak when you are strong, and strong when you are weak. In the dim light of evening, a warrior stands amidst the dense forest, his face showing resilience but hiding inner vulnerability. He knows how to use his weaknesses to become stronger, and, conversely, uses his strength to conceal his vulnerabilities. If you are the smartest person in the room, you are in the wrong room. In a meeting filled with innovative ideas, where everyone is enthusiastic and brimming with concepts, a man sits quietly with curious and thoughtful eyes. He realizes that he needs to seek environments where intelligence and wisdom are encouraged and nurtured. A person trying to walk two paths at once will end up nowhere. At a bustling crossroads, a young man stands confused between two directions, his eyes wide with uncertainty and lips trembling. He realizes that trying to pursue too many goals at the same time only leads to being lost and achieving nothing. We can learn wisdom in three ways. First, through reflection, which is the noblest. Second, through imitation, which is the easiest. And third, through experience, which is the bitterest. In a quiet library, a young girl sits by the window, her eyes focused on her book and her face thoughtful. Next to her, an old friend observes and learns from her actions, while past emotional wounds teach her the most valuable lessons. When anger rises, think of the consequences, and it becomes hard to love. Amid a fierce storm, with lightning flashing across the dark sky, a man stands in the trembling house, his face tense and eyes filled with anger. He realizes that anger only harms himself and those around him, making love seem distant. This is how everything works. All good things are hard to achieve, while bad things are easy to obtain. In the warm yellow light of a cafe, a girl sits alone, her eyes distant and thoughtful. She understands that great achievements require effort and perseverance, while bad things easily follow from laziness and lack of determination. Whoever cares for their higher self becomes a great person, while those who only focus on minor things become small. On a high mountain peak, a man looks up to the vast sky, his eyes determined and face full of resolve. He understands that taking care of and developing himself will lead him to new heights, while focusing on trivial matters only limits him. Knowing others is intelligence. Knowing yourself is true wisdom. In an intimate conversation under the bright moonlight, two friends sit facing each other, their eyes sincere and smiles warm. They share and listen to each other, deepening their understanding of themselves and one another, fostering a profound and enduring relationship. Mastering others is strength. Mastering yourself is true power. In the quiet space of a meditation room, a woman sits silently, her eyes closed and breathing steady. She realizes that true strength doesn't come from controlling others, but from the ability to control and master herself. Do not do to others what you do not want them to do to you. On a small, flower-lined path, a young man helps an elderly person cross the street. His eyes are filled with compassion, and his face bright with a warm smile, embodying the principle he always follows. Our greatest glory is not in never falling, but in rising every time we fall. Under a gloomy sky with rain pouring down, a woman stands up after falling, her face showing resilience and determination. Each fall is a lesson, and each rise brings her one step closer to true glory. Victory comes from finding opportunities in problems. In a challenging meeting room, where everyone is anxious and stressed, a man stands up with bright eyes and determined words. He sees opportunities in every problem and leads the team to overcome difficulties and achieve victory. Think of tomorrow. The past cannot be mended. On a peaceful beach, as the sun sets vividly on the horizon, a girl sits quietly, her eyes fixed on the vast sea. She understands that the past is gone and resolves to look forward to a brighter future. The man who says he can and the man who says he cannot are both correct. In the gentle morning light, two friends passionately debate their ability to achieve a goal. One is full of hope and confidence, while the other is skeptical and anxious. Both are right in their own ways, reflecting different perspectives and beliefs. If you act wisely, good things will happen. Act like a fool, and bad things will happen. Under the cool shade of a tree, a young woman walks with determination and careful thought. Each step she takes is calm and meaningful, leading to positive outcomes. Meanwhile, thoughtless actions only bring negative consequences. Watch your thoughts. They become your words. Watch your words. They become your actions. Watch your actions. They become your habits. Watch your habits. They become your character. Watch your character. It becomes your destiny. On a bright morning, a young man sits at his desk, contemplating his goals. His eyes are bright, and his face shows focus and determination. He realizes that every thought influences his words, actions, habits, character, and ultimately his destiny. He who flatters his enemy is his foe. He who points out his faults is his creator. In a tense meeting, a rebellious man tries to flatter and belittle others. His face is dark and filled with hatred, while others criticize him for his mistakes. Both sides display different character traits through their interactions. The truth is not always beautiful, nor are beautiful words the truth. In the dim evening light, a woman sits quietly in front of the mirror, her eyes filled with contemplation and her lips thin. She understands that truth can sometimes be harsh and unattractive, but it still needs to be faced and accepted. Three things never come back: time, word, and opportunity. Therefore, do not waste time. Choose your words carefully and seize every opportunity. In a flower-filled park, a young man stands watching his watch, contemplating the past, present, and future. His eyes shine with determination not to waste any moment, carefully selecting his words and grabbing every opportunity that comes his way. The journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. Under a clear blue sky, as the sun rises, a man stands on the road, taking his first step with a radiant smile on his face. He feels the power of beginning and the faith in what lies ahead. Plan for what is difficult while it is easy. Do what is great while it is small. In a bright office, a young woman sits at her desk, her eyes focused and face full of enthusiasm. She plans for a major upcoming project, while everything is still new and manageable. By doing so, she ensures that great things will be accomplished smoothly as they grow. Friendship is one soul and two bodies. Under the shade of a large tree, two close friends sit together, their eyes shining with joy and connection. They share stories, laughter echoing in the peaceful space, reflecting their harmony and deep friendship. The snow goose does not need to bathe to make itself white. In a snow-covered forest, a graceful white goose swims on a clear lake. The light reflects off its pristine white feathers, showcasing its natural beauty without any need for intervention. You don't need to do anything but be yourself. When you are content to simply be yourself and don't compare or compete, everyone will respect you. On a peaceful afternoon, a young woman stands in front of the mirror, looking at herself with a confident smile. She understands that authenticity and being natural are the keys to earning respect and love from others. The noble person uses things. The lesser man is used by things. In a professional workspace, a man stands tall, using resources wisely and efficiently. His face radiates confidence and sophistication, while those around him appear confused and dependent on material things. Seeing what is right, but not doing it, is cowardice. In an important meeting, a woman sits quietly, recognizing what is right and wrong, but remains silent and hesitant to speak up. Her eyes are filled with doubt and fear, showing a lack of courage and decisiveness to act rightly. Never venture, never win. On a perilous mountain peak, a young man stands bravely facing strong winds and pouring rain. His face is resolute, and his eyes filled with determination, ready to take risks to achieve his goals. Without determined effort, there will be no brilliant achievement. In a noisy gym, a man trains diligently every day, sweat streaming down his forehead, and his face showing determination. He understands that only through perseverance and effort can he achieve great accomplishments. Being deeply loved by someone gives you strength, while loving someone deeply gives you courage. In the warm light of evening, two lovers hold hands beneath an old tree. Their eyes sparkle with love, and their faces exude peace and trust, providing them with the strength and courage to face any challenge together. The funniest people are the saddest ones. At a lively party filled with laughter and upbeat music, a girl jokes around with friends, but her eyes conceal deep sadness. The joy on her face cannot hide the complex emotions within her. You can't trust a person who has nothing to lose. In a deserted alley, a man stands alone, his eyes empty and having nothing to lose. His sense of confusion and lack of trust make him unreliable and dangerous. An enemy is a friend who knows too much about you. In a tense meeting, two men face each other with cold eyes and sarcastic smiles. This enemy was once a close friend, but now their deep knowledge of each other has made their relationship complicated and filled with hatred. Opportunities multiply as they are seized. On a bustling street, a young man quickly seizes an opportunity when he sees a store needing help. His eyes gleam with excitement and determination, realizing that each opportunity brings endless possibilities if taken advantage of correctly. Tell me, and I will forget. Show me, and I may remember. Involve me, and I will understand. In a bright classroom, a dedicated teacher guides students through hands-on activities. The eager children participate with curious eyes and radiant faces, understanding more about the lesson through active involvement. An intelligent person avoids extremes, self-indulgence, and extravagance. In a quiet library space, a young woman sits reading with focused eyes and a calm face. She avoids extremes and maintains humility, knowing that true intelligence comes from balance and persistent learning. No matter how busy you think you are, you must find time for reading or surrender yourself to self-chosen ignorance. In a crowded office, a man takes a few moments each day to read a book in a small corner. His eyes sparkle with a thirst for knowledge, and his face shows the belief that education is the key to avoiding self-chosen ignorance. Learn as if you were not reaching your goal, and as though you were scared of missing it. In a diligent study session, a student sits at her desk, her eyes focused and lips tightly pressed. She studies with the belief that every piece of knowledge is important, and she doesn't want to miss anything that could help her achieve her goals. Attack the evil within yourself, rather than attacking the evil in others. In a quiet meditation room, a man sits in meditation with contemplative eyes and a peaceful face. He focuses on self-improvement, confronting and overcoming his own internal flaws instead of blaming others. Life is really simple, but we insist on making it complicated. In a cozy small home, a family gathers around the dinner table, their eyes full of happiness and faces smiling brightly. They realize that happiness comes from simple things, and there is no need to complicate life further. The less you have sex, the less you want it. In a private and peaceful space, a young couple sits together, their eyes exchanging understanding and love. Their closeness and emotional connection increase their desire and affection for each other. Great happiness is when you are loved. On a warm, sunny afternoon, a couple walks hand in hand through the park, their eyes exchanging love and joy. Their genuine love brings them a sense of complete and meaningful happiness. Real happiness is when you love to complain about something unpleasant. It doubles the evil. Laughing at it destroys it. At a small party, a man talks about life's difficulties with a smile on his face. He understands that laughing at unpleasant things helps him overcome and turn challenges into opportunities for growth. There are 1,000 lessons in defeat, but only one in victory. In a tense competition space, an athlete stands up after each fall, his eyes determined and face glowing with lessons learned from each failure. He realizes that each defeat brings valuable lessons, while victory only conveys a simple message of success. Silence is a source of great strength. If what you have to say is not better than silence, then you should keep silent. In a solemn meeting, A man listens carefully before speaking. If his words do not add value, he chooses to remain silent, demonstrating maturity and wisdom in communication. A leader leads by example, not by force. In a team meeting, a woman stands up with confidence and bright eyes, demonstrating leadership through her actions and example. Her sincerity and steadfastness inspire everyone to follow her without the need for coercion. Do not conquer the world with force, for force only causes resistance. On a battlefield filled with smoke and fire, a general stands with determined eyes and a thoughtful face. He realizes that using force to conquer only leads to resistance and division, instead seeking peaceful and cooperative solutions instead. Try your best to treat others as you would wish to be treated yourself, and you will find that this is the shortest way to benevolence. In a cozy small house, a mother cares for her family with love and attention. Her eyes are always full of kindness, and her face radiates warmth, creating a loving and respectful environment for everyone around her. I once tried thinking for an entire day, but I found it less valuable than one moment of study. On an early morning, a student sits at her study desk, her eyes focused on her book, and her face showing determination. She realizes that action and practical experience are far more valuable than merely thinking without doing anything. I have just 3 things to teach: simplicity, patience, compassion. These 3 are your greatest treasures. In a peaceful garden, an elderly man sits beside his young grandchild, his eyes full of love and his face kind. He shares stories about simplicity, patience, and compassion, imparting these precious values to the next generation. A superior man is modest in his speech, but exceeds in his actions. At a formal ceremony, a man stands up to speak with gentle and humble words. However, his eyes are full of determination, and his face shows confidence, demonstrating through his actions and decisions that he truly possesses superior qualities. When I let go of what I am, I become what I might be. In the tranquil space of a yoga studio, a young woman relaxes her body and mind, her eyes filled with hope and her face serene. She realizes that letting go of her self-imposed limits has opened up opportunities for her to grow and become the best version of herself. Nothing is softer or more flexible than water, yet nothing can resist it. Under the silver moonlight on a lake, a stream flows gently, the water sparkling as it reflects the light. The softness and flexibility of water are evident in its flow, yet it also demonstrates an unstoppable strength when necessary. The way is near, but people seek it afar. In a dense forest, as sunlight filters through the leaves, a man stops to look around. Even though his goal is close by, he continues to search for it in distant places, missing the precious things that are right in front of him. Those are the easy things, but people seek them in difficult places. In a vast field, a girl stands among wildflowers, her eyes bright with freedom and happiness. She realizes that the easy and simple things are what truly bring joy, instead of searching for happiness in complex and difficult situations. Don't thank or curse heaven. It's just the natural result of your own actions. On a quiet evening, as the sun sets and the sky turns yellow-orange, a man stands looking at the ground, reflecting on his actions. He understands that everything that happens is a natural result of his own choices and actions, without the need to thank or curse anything. The will to win, the the desire to succeed, the urge to reach your full potential. These are the keys that will unlock the door to personal excellence. In a determined gym, a woman trains with focused eyes and a sweaty face. She understands that strong willpower, the desire to succeed, and relentless effort will help her unlock her full potential and achieve personal excellence. The great man is the one who does not lose his child's heart. In a flower-filled park, an elderly man plays with his young grandchild, his eyes full of joy and his face glowing with a bright smile. He keeps his childlike heart, never losing his innocence and joy in life. Be content with what you have. Rejoice in the way things are. On a peaceful morning, a girl sits by the window, looking out at a garden, her eyes filled with satisfaction and her face gently smiling. She realizes that when she is content with what she has and rejoices in how things are, the whole world seems to belong to her.